going to ask Teri Radke to come up here. She's going to share about how she heard the word to come and help, and it came in an unusual way. She shared once before, it was about a year ago, but we need to hear some updates with her about this. It's a very unique ministry. I really enjoy hearing it, and she's sharing at all our worship services. So first, Teri, introduce yourself. How long have you been here at Christ the Servant, Las Vegas, that kind of thing?
My name is Teri Radke. I've been coming to Christ the Servant for 11 years, and I've been in Las Vegas for approximately 20 years.
Okay, and which service do you usually worship at?
5:30 p.m. on Saturday.
Okay, so 5:30 worship. She's usually right down there in the aisle, comes here, and let's see. You started running, even though you had never run before. So how did that get started?
That is correct. I was impressed. My daughter and I used to do Race for the Cure. We would do it as walking. When she was in high school, she had to do some volunteer opportunities, and one of the closest things to her heart was Race for the Cure. So for 3 years, we did Race for the Cure walking together, raising awareness and money and stuff like that. And I was amazed that people could run 3.1 miles, and I decided I want to do that. I want to give it a try.
Okay, so how many of you have been involved in Race for the Cure? We've had, quite a few of you have done that. And you can do it as walking or running. You've done it as walking, and then you saw people doing the 5K run, which is 3.1 miles. You said, I want to do that. How did you do?
I did good. What I did was I used to work at Caesar's Palace, and in the forum shops they have a store called Nike Town. They would do group runs on Wednesday night at 6 p.m. People would get together to run, walk 1, 3, 5 miles, depending on what the distance was. So I joined there on June 1st of 2005. I figure I work right there. I get off work at 5. Their runs start at 6 o'clock, so I thought I'll just hang around, give it a try. And the first night I did it, I was just blown away by running. I did a run walk. I did 3 miles. I loved the camaraderie of the people, the encouragement, and just being out there, getting fit, and just being outside.
Okay, so you didn't do any preparation for this? You just showed up and said, I'm going to do it?
That's correct. 6 months later, I did my first marathon, 26.2 miles. A lot of the runners were talking about that the Las Vegas Marathon was going to be the first time running down the strip in December of that year. They were talking about doing it, and my friend and I that I met, we eventually became running partners, and we both decided, let's give it a try, 26.2 miles. So we trained together, and we just took off from there.
Okay, so you show up, and for the first time, you try a 3-mile run, and then decide, I'm going to do a marathon. 6 months later, you're running the marathon. Folks, you too, starting today, in 6 months, you can run a marathon. Okay, there's a sign-up sheet out in the lobby. Okay,
we can make one.
So you did it, and you ran your first marathon, and what did you think while you were running it?
I fell in love with the sport, and it just took off from there. Since June 1st, I've logged 8,593 miles.
That's pretty far. Wow. Okay, so now you've started running. You really love running. It does great things for you. You're fit. You're in shape. You like the competition, the camaraderie.
That's correct.
And you're doing races, right?
Yes.
How many races a year would you be doing?
Too many to count. My goal when I first started running was I wanted to PR in the different distances.
You want a personal record?
Yes.
Okay.
5K, 10K, half marathon, full marathon. Eventually my goal was to qualify for Boston, but as you get older, you get slower.
Wait.
That's not going to work.
She says as you get older, you get slower. Does anyone agree with that? Yeah, okay. Because Boston has a requirement, a time requirement.
Yes.
What is that?
In order for me at my age, 55, I have to run 26.2 miles in 4 hours and 5 minutes. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be that fast, but they also have what's called a charity program where you can join different charities and raise anywhere from $5,000 to $7,500 and run Boston that way.
Okay, so that's something you're considering. Well,
Yes.
that sort of leads into, okay, you used to be just running just for your own enjoyment, personal records, that kind of thing.
It's for my
But
own.
something changed. When did that happen, and why did it happen?
Okay, for the first 8 years of running, it took me 8 years to figure out why I run. It was for selfish intent. God gave me the ability to run for those who can't. So there's a group on Facebook called I Run For, It is where runners signed to get matched up with a special needs child. I signed up as a runner, and I wanted to get matched with a special needs child. The person I got matched with, his name is Caleb. This picture here just shows shirts like I send to his parents. He'll wear the shirt on a race day that I'm gonna be at. He'll be at the finish line. It'll say Teri runs for me, and then I'll also wear a shirt that says I run for Caleb. I want everyone to know who I run for and why I run for.
Okay, so you're now, you have a purpose in your running, not just for yourself, not just for records or camaraderie or competition, but now you've got a relationship, so to speak,
Yes.
with Caleb, a child who has great needs. Tell us what that is.
Caleb has what's called charge syndrome. Each letter for the word charge stands for something. C stands for coloboma, H stands for heart, A stands for atresia, R stands for retardation, G stands for genitals, E stands for eyes and ears. Caleb has charge syndrome. 1 in 10,000 kids will have charge syndrome. 70% of the kids with charge will not live to be 5 years old, and the gene that is caused by charge is called CHD7.
Okay, so about a year ago, you gave a quick demonstration of what you started doing, and that was the first time I had heard of charge syndrome. And I travel in circles with families and kids with special needs. Never heard of it before, never heard of it since you spoke of it before, and now again being informed. How many of you already knew about charge syndrome before Teri told us? Anybody? Okay. Well, a nurse. Okay. Okay. That's no fair. Okay. But it is indeed very rare, and it's one of those things that you just don't hear about. One of many needs that children may have, we just don't hear about. So you're bringing that awareness through what you're also doing. And here we have a picture.
This is Caleb. I call him my little man. He is deaf in his left ear, has a hearing aid in his right ear. Doctors told his parents that he would never be able to walk, talk, crawl. Caleb has surpassed that. He is walking, talking. He is legally deaf. He communicates by American Sign Language, and he surpassed what doctors has predicted he would do. Caleb is my inspiration. He is my motivation. On my running shoes, I have beads on my shoes that say either charge on for Caleb or I run for Caleb. Each mile that I take, when it gets difficult, it reminds me, the shoes that I'm wearing, it reminds me I'm doing it for Caleb, and he motivates me, and he is my inspiration. He never gave up, so I'm not going to give up on him.
So you started running without ever having met him because they live far away.
Yes. Caleb lives in Texas. One of my goals was to eventually meet Caleb, run a half marathon for him, and carry him over the finish line. This is a picture of the Divas half marathon last year. It's the first time I met Caleb. I would travel to Galveston. I did the half marathon, and I was able to meet his family. They are now an extension of my family. I look at Caleb as my son. I look at his mom and dad as my daughters, and he also has a younger sister named Sophia, and she's full of energy. She has no problems, and I just look at them as my extended family.
So having run at a distance running, having not met them in person, and then you go to Texas because they live close. Was it Galveston they live in? And so they were close enough to the Houston Marathon to get there. You get to meet them, and now you run. And so another way of supporting is there's a need for families that have children that have tremendous needs, because
That's correct.
What you're also doing is you're making their child more visible to the world.
Yes.
What tends to happen in our families is that parents are so consumed with taking their child to therapies 5 days a week and to doctors once or twice a week, every day, every week of the year. There's no energy left for any other kind of interaction or joining in social groups or anything like that. So you have to think about how often do you in your daily life see any children that have tremendous needs? It's very rare. Unless you're in a public school or in a medical profession, you just don't see these children. It's not because parents are hiding them away. It's because families are just plain exhausted and worn out and don't have the energy to be engaged with other people in other ways. Some of them, it's even tremendous effort just to get to church every once in a while. And so now what you're doing is you're being a contact, you're being a support for that family, you're showing them to the rest of the world. And that's a great comfort to families. We're not forgotten, we're not left alone.
It's all about inclusion, making them feel like they're normal. It's all about inclusion, creating awareness.
So here's how you're including him, like he's a normal kid.
Yes, this is a picture of Caleb and I walking along the beach in Galveston. While I was in Galveston, I wrote in the sand, "I run for Caleb and Teri runs for me." Caleb decided he liked that stick and he had to carry it around with him and he would not put it down anywhere. It became very special to him. He took that home and put it in a memento box. This is me for the Divas Half Marathon, for the first half marathon that I ran, that Caleb was there. As I am there, I'm crossing the finish line, I'm signing his name, Caleb, it's just the K, and tapping my head. So I'm tapping his name as I cross the finish line.
That's also because that's how he communicates.
That's correct.
He's being taught American Sign Language.
Yes.
Okay.
This is a picture of Caleb and I. It's a collage that I created back in December of last year on Facebook. Chevron Houston Marathon and Skechers were giving away a trip. It included airfare, 3 days hotel, night stay, and also entry into the Chevron Houston Marathon. I thought, oh, this is a place, I want to do it. I had 50 people nominate me on why I should win, why I should run. They gave away 2 entries, so it was kind of hard for them to not pick me as one of the winners because I was doing it for selfish intent, not for personal gain like most of the other people were doing. So I did win entry, and I was able to run another half marathon and see Caleb. This is a picture of Caleb. It's called I Love Someone Rare. They had Rare Disease Day, so I created this collage just to remind me who Caleb is, and I want the world to know that I love someone rare.
And so you can put this also on the Facebook page so it
Yes.
gets out to even a wider audience. Once again, creating awareness, but also letting people know there are children just like this little boy right here.
Again, it's about inclusion. This is a picture of Caleb and I. That is after the Chevron Houston Marathon. That was in January. I give Caleb all of my medals. He was there at the finish line. However, for this race, due to the amount of people, I was not able to carry him across the finish line, but he was there at the end, and I did give him my medal.
So even when you're at another race say locally here, you send the medal to him so he gets
That is correct.
to add that to his collection.
My sisters, I should say my brother-in-law made a plaque that says I run for Caleb, and on it has hooks, and that's where he displays all his medals. This is the picture of Caleb and I crossing the Divas Half Marathon together last year in April, the first time I met Caleb.
So this time you're crossing the finish line holding him, and I see you're signing his name also.
Yeah,
as
signing
you
his
do that.
name. His mom, Amanda, was just amazed by this picture just because I'm signing his name as I cross the finish line.
Okay, so yes, we need as much as we can, because like I say, when these children are invisible in our world, every effort to lift them up and let people know that they're children just like every other child and they have these needs, just to be included is just amazing. So now you also do something locally, so tell us about that.
Yes, locally I do what's called My Team Triumph. It's nonprofit organization where we do endurance sports. This is a picture of Maria. She's 25 years old. She has cerebral palsy. What we do is we push captains in chairs so they can also participate, also all about inclusion, participate in endurance events. We have a saying that angels don't fly, we run. The special needs child is our captain and we are their angels. This is a race I did earlier this year with Maria. Usually for a race, you're paired up with another partner. And of course, on running days, sometimes you have good days, bad days. On this particular day, I had a good day. The person I was matched with did not have a good day, so I just took off and Maria and I finished the race together.
Okay, so your serving people has taken on a life of its own, and it is expanding as you see more needs.
That's correct.
And we are so glad that we can say this is a part of the ministry that we send out. Because as we talk about here, we come here, we worship together, we get strengthened, we build each other up, we are filled up, and then we go out wherever we are and we serve in so many different ways. And this is a very unique way that lifts up not just a person who is serving, but also the people that we never see who need someone to reach out to them. I see this picture of you pushing the chair,
Maria.
and it reminds me, Jesus said, even as you do this to the least of these my children, you do it to me. So in this way, you're serving your Lord Jesus Christ. And we thank you very much for doing that.
Thank you. And I just wanted to point out that this is a picture that Maria painted that's being displayed. She does not have a disability. She has an ability. She's an artist. She's a painter. And that's a picture that she painted for me.
So come up and see it after worship is over. And please let us know when you have some of these big races coming up, and then we'll be able to give our encouragement and pray for you during that time, okay?
Will do. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Teri.